With over 62 million views, our slime cake is one of our most popular videos ever, and today we're going to show you step by step how to make your own and then destroy it. Let's get started. Like any cake, we need to start off with the sponge, and for this I'm going to be using some cloud slime. If you don't know what cloud slime is, it's basically just a regular slime that's got instant snow in it. It's got a super fluffy and spongy texture just like real cake, and I'm going to tag below a few good tutorials below. As you can see, I'm just going to go straight in with some food colouring. I'm using some yellow and brown to make a vanilla themed cake, but you can honestly use whatever colour you want. Once you've got that all mixed in nicely, you just need to get a cake pan. I'm going to use a 6-inch one because I want quite a slim and tall cake, and I'm just going to lightly cover the pan with lotion just so that the slime cake doesn't stick and we have a nice even mold. Now all you have to do is roll the slime into a ball and push it into the tin. It's really important to make sure that the cake is level, so try and get it as even as possible and push all of the slime into the corners of the pan. Using a palette knife, I just gently removed the slime from the pan and I repeated it 4 times for a 4-tiered cake. This was honestly so much fun to do, and it's so satisfying getting the even shapes each time. Now to give the cake more stability, because it's made of slime, we're going to need to use some soft clay and press that between each layer. We're going to need 3 layers of this and not 4 just because we don't want a layer of this on the top of the cake. For the clay, I'm just using some Daiso soft clay and I'll link this below, but you can use any air dry clay that you like. Now to get the perfect shape for this, instead of pushing the clay into the tin like we did with the cake, we're just going to use the tin to press the clay down gently. You're going to need one of these between every layer where the cake touches the cake, and for me, like I said, it's 3. This step is super satisfying to do, but just make sure that each layer is even so that the cake doesn't topple over. And once you've done that, it's finally time to put the cake together. You really don't need a cake board, I was just being extra here, but you just want to lay a layer of cake, then a layer of icing, all the way until the cake is done. Just be careful when building this that everything's even, just so that the cake is super stable and strong. If your cake doesn't feel stable, I wouldn't worry too much, and I'd just use some paper straws to stick between the layers just so it adds a little bit more support. Once the cake is all constructed, now it's time to make the icing. I'm going to spray some shaving cream in a bowl and add some colouring to it and just mix it together. This was the part I was most excited for because when I normally bake, icing it is the best part. And when I tell you, this did not disappoint. It honestly looked amazing and just like real frosting. Once you're happy with the colour, you just need to scoop the frosting into a piping bag. This doesn't have to have a fancy tip yet, this is just to get icing on the sides of the cake easier. And once that piping bag was filled, I transferred the cake onto a turntable. This again is just me being extra, you don't really need one of these, but it does help. Firstly, I piped the top of the cake and then I went crazy going all around the sides and getting all of the crevices and gaps all filled in with the icing. You really don't need to be tidy with this, you just want to get the icing all around the cake just so it has an even layer when you spread it out. And using my palette knife, I went all around the cake, spreading the icing as evenly as I can. You're never going to get even edges with just a palette knife, so just try and spread it as smoothly as you can. The next tool I'm going to use is one that you might actually need to get super crisp edges, but it's called a cake scraper and it really helps getting smooth edges on any type of cake. I just spread this all around the cake until I got crisp edges all around. Using the palette knife, I just dragged the rest of the icing onto the top of the cake and used a bit of tissue paper to clean up around the edge of the cake. Now you could totally stop here, but I wanted to go a step further and add a drip to the cake, so I just used some glue, some shaving cream and some food colouring just to make a blue drip. I put it into a piping bag and then just ran it around the edge of the cake, letting it drip naturally around the sides, and I was so impressed with how this turned out. I'd never done this on a slime cake before and I was so happy with how it looked. Adding the shaving cream to the glue just made it a little bit thicker so it dripped down the cake really nicely. To top this off, I wanted a border around the ring of the cake, so I just added some shaving cream to a piping bag with a nozzle and just piped it around the top of the cake. Now it didn't start off perfect, but I eventually got the hang of it and I was really happy with how it looked. And to get this pattern, I just went round in circles around the ring of the cake. I added a few fake blue crumbs around the edge just to top it off, and then I added some fake cherries as well just because I thought they looked good on top. I was so pleased with how this turned out, and if you are making this for a friend or anyone, just make sure that they know they cannot eat it because this looks a little bit too realistic. And that's the finished product. I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I'm going to be quiet now so you guys can hear the ASMR while I'm mixing it. And there we have it. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel where we're going to be posting more satisfying videos like this one. And if you like this video, give us a thumbs up and let us know what your thoughts are in the comments below. See you guys soon!